and thank you for joining Kuiper and VMware for the very first session in our Big Breakfast series, where we're going to be asking and answering some big questions. My name is Stuart Hall, I'm the director of Kuiper, and I'm delighted that you can join us. I do hope you have a nice brew on the go and are ready to have your digital workspace appetite satisfied. Today, I'm joined by my colleague and head of sales, Neil Jelly, plus some very special guests from VMware. For those who've always wanted to know the answer to the burning question, where on earth did the name Kuiper come from? Well, it's not where on earth, it actually relates to the Kuiper belt in space, which encompasses much of the universe as we know it. Our mission is to go above and beyond for our customers and help you to universally embrace IT. We act as a broadline provider, covering everything from standard hardware and software, right through to telecoms, managed services, and even digital signage. We've been a proud partner of VMware's for many years, and as their portfolio has expanded, we found that our customers have become ever more interested in how they can build upon their existing investments and take advantage of what VMware has to offer. This series has been put together based upon the questions that our customers most frequently ask us, and we're delighted that VMware has agreed to join us. Today's session is the first in the series. We'll be sharing details on other upcoming sessions at the end, all of which will be available on demand. To give you a bit of variety, I'm now going to hand you over to Neil to ask today's big breakfast, big question. Over to you, Neil.
Thanks, Stuart, and good morning, everyone. Today, we're asking the question, what does a better user experience look like in practice? And how can focusing on this result in fewer service requests for IT? I'm sure there's a few of you who have pinched the bridge of your nose in frustration at why can't I log in type call. So why is this question important? Well, I'll be honest, in many of the conversations I've had with IT directors and CIOs, there is a demand for less talk about the user experience as a concept and more conversation about how changes at the user level can positively impact IT. Fortunately, VMware completely gets this, and I'm delighted to welcome today two people who will be able to illustrate perfectly how this works in practice. And it's my pleasure to introduce from VMware, Paul Whitten, who's the End User Computing Solutions Engineer Manager for UK and Ireland, and Darren Hirons, Senior Solutions Engineer for Digital Workspace. Over to you, gents.
Thanks, Neil. Can you just stop sharing? Thanks. I am just going to share my screen and then we'll get started. So, yeah, morning, everyone. I'm Darren Hirons, and welcome to this first day of the Breakfast Briefing series. We're going to focus on employee experience today, and throughout the rest of this week, we're going to cover a whole range of different digital transformation objectives. So let's start off with a nice easy start, and let's kick off with a short video just to show you what some of the challenges are right now.
In boardrooms and virtual meeting rooms around the world, business leaders are asking, how do we unify our culture when a screen is our only touch point? How do we organize our organizations if there's no there to return to? The question isn't whether change is coming. The question is how to change business for the better. Because today, teams can work effectively from here, here, or here. And being on the same page doesn't have to mean being in the same place. Through digital workspaces, employees are performing their best from any app, any device. Through a virtual cloud network, they have seamless connectivity and experiences wherever they are. And with intrinsic security, data is as safe at the edge as it is at the office. So as we look to the future, maybe it's time to start asking, can we build an organization that works together, even when it's apart? Yes, in fact, we've never been closer. With a digital foundation that treats remote work not as the exception, but as the rule, your organization can work anywhere as one. Because technology has a way of making the distance disappear.
So hopefully that sets us up nicely for the rest of this morning's session. I'd like to just draw your attention first to the digital workspace technology stack. So The product is Workspace ONE, and it actually is a solution that contains a number of different products. At the bottom of this section, you've got the blue layer, which we refer to as the access layer. This is typically the layer that end users will interact with. So we'll be focusing heavily on that today. Excuse me. The next level up is the green layer, and this is referred to as the unified endpoint management layer. This is really the layer that focuses on managing the end user's devices. And together they form a product called Workspace ONE Standard. Moving up the stack, we expand that green layer out to provide more functionality for desktop management. And that includes not just Windows, but also Mac OS as well. And then building on top of that, we've got the intelligence layer, which includes all the data and analytics that we can capture from the platform, and also Horizon shared virtual desktops and virtual apps. And then right at the top, we've got the Horizon Universal license, which adds onto that VDI. So it's possible to combine all these together to have a full stack, or you can select the individual components that you require to meet your requirements for what you want to deliver. We also have some add-ons as part of the solution as well. We have Workspace ONE Assist, which is for remote control and remote assistance when people have got issues. And also we have Workspace ONE Security, which includes the Carbon Black platform. So we're going to cover almost all of this week, so don't worry too much about some of this stuff. We're just going to focus on this blue layer at the bottom today, the access layer, because this is all around the user experience today. So let's start off, let's have a look at what the current challenges are. And we all know that there are lots of challenges in the last 12 months that were different from before, but even before the pandemic started, lots of companies had problems with regards to digital transformation and end user experience. For a start, lots of people have got multiple different device types that they have to manage. And if we go back even 10 years, most people had entirely Windows estates. And if you take a look at a typical company now, they'll have Windows, they'll have MacBooks, they might have Chromebooks, they've got Android, they've got iOS, they've got all these different device types that they've got to manage that they never had to manage before. And not just that, but they've also got end users who are saying, I need a certain type of device to do my job better. So they've got to be able to be flexible enough to manage all these different types of devices. When it comes to their applications have changed a huge amount in the last few years too. No longer are everybody's applications based inside their own data centers. Quite often now applications are on mobile devices, or more frequently now, they exist in the cloud, so they're SaaS applications. And then there's no better example of work style changes than the last 12 months when the pandemic hit and we had the biggest working from home proof of concept the world's ever seen. So we've had to adapt quickly to being able to move people from the office to work at home. And in some cases that transformation's been quite seamless for end users. But for some companies, it's been pretty chaotic and it's been a pretty bad user experience. So there are lots of companies out there now that have kind of had a makeshift solution in place, and now they're coming back and saying, look, we need to put a better solution in place to make this user experience better. Because lots and lots of companies, as you've probably seen on the news, are now looking at encompassing working from home into permanent work life. So we kind of went from this kind of environment where everybody was going to the same office every day, everybody was working face to face, it was easy to collaborate, to this where everybody's dispersed around the country, or even around the world in some cases. And the challenge isn't just, giving them a device to take home. The challenge is much more than that. The challenge is, how do you give them a user experience that's as good as if they were in the office? How do you secure those devices? Because believe it or not, securing devices when they move off site is a lot more difficult than when they're connected to the network. Pushing policy changes to them is more challenging. Pushing security updates to them is more challenging. And even getting applications delivered to them can be challenging. I've lost track of the number of customers who say that they have to get customers to bring their devices back on site to get application updates. So all these challenges need to be addressed if we're going to really be successful in delivering a great user experience to end users working remotely. We believe the answer is Workspace ONE. It's a consistent platform that gives end users access to all their apps and data from any platform in a consistent manner. From a business point of view, it removes all the barriers around passwords, etc. It also gets the users more productive quicker, and it empowers them with things like self-service. They don't have to rely on IT to do things for them and make changes for them. From an IT point of view, it lifts a lot of the burden from them with things like self-service, because they're no longer constantly being bombarded with requests from end users. The end users become much more self-sufficient and therefore more productive. So this is what we're going to focus on today. We're going to focus on this part of the end user experience. And this really starts right from the first day that the individual receives a job offer with a company. It doesn't even start when they begin at the company. So we believe that the end user life cycle starts right from the first day they receive their job offer. And then it changes when they start on their first day. And then as they move through the life cycle of the company, their user experience should continue. So we offer an onboarding service, which is for new hires. So what can happen is when you accept a job offer with a company, you can be given access to the onboarding portal. And as you can see on the screen, it can offer actionable content that you want the end users to do before they start at the company. So these could be new hire tasks, documents you want them to sign, maybe a contract, a checklist of things you want them to read. You might even give them access to be able to order their own device and choose from a range of devices. You can also put in here video content, get them used to the company, get them to meet key individuals in management maybe, or the CEO, for example. And of course, you can publish contact details if anybody has any questions about their onboarding experience. So this is a really great digital transformational experience right from the first day. Moving on to the first day when they actually start working in the company, we can change those actions and we can change the set of tasks that they're assigned. So these now change that can be like new hire tasks they have to complete on their first day. They could be registering for training courses for onboarding and company orientation, for example. They could be things like an onboarding checklist to help them track what they've done on their first day. All this is to build on this end user experience when somebody starts at the company. So it offers a great end user experience. So the person coming into the company is going to be thinking, wow, this is a fantastic place to work. You've got IT who are saying that this is fantastic for them because it lifts a lot of the burdens around having to build devices. It lifts a lot of the burdens around having to constantly get involved with end users' requests to do certain things. And it also is great for HR because it keeps those new hires engaged. It keeps them, focused on what they're doing, and it gives them a fantastic experience. So, in the early days of their career with the company, they're less likely to leave. And certainly in recent years, staff retention has become more and more of a focus for HR. Let's watch a short video before we dig a bit deeper into the features of what this could look like for some typical users.
Meet Nadia. She has just received a job offer from your company. Nadia is prompted to download Workspace ONE Intelligent Hub and is welcomed by her virtual assistant, which is powered by AI. The assistant provides her offer letter and, once signed, helps Nadia to get everything she needs for her first day. The assistant displays her options so she can choose her ideal laptop and accessories, and even an ergonomic desk. She's all set for day one before ever coming to the office. On her first day, Nadia gets a notification from IT stating they're ready for her to activate her full digital workspace. She can simply press Activate to get going. She inputs her IT-assigned credentials, and then Workspace ONE comes to life. She's provided with secure access to the company's intranet site with the latest corporate communications and all of the apps she'll need to do her job. Clicking on the People tab, Nadia can see her manager as well as the rest of the team. At any point in the day, Nadia can click on her virtual assistant and ask questions. It will intuitively connect her to the answers most likely to help. Workspace ONE is consumer simple and enterprise secure. With the new virtual assistant, help is always just a click away. Now let's check in with Nadia's colleague Taylor. The company needs her to travel for a global team summit. She asks her intelligent hub assistant to order a new corporate credit card. The assistant asks Taylor to verify her billing info and to agree to the terms and conditions. The assistant submits an order ticket and a new corporate card is on its way. At the LA office, Taylor tries to access the Wi-Fi but can't. She asks her Intelligent Hub assistant to help. The assistant requests access to her location to determine where she is. Once provided, the assistant asks if Taylor would like to update her Wi-Fi configurations to get local Wi-Fi access. As she is leaving the office, she sees that another employee has sent over an org update for her approval, which she can also look at and act on. She can even e-sign some documents and approve an employee's PTO request through the click of a button. Workspace ONE. Get productive today.
So there's a lot in there, right? We're going to cover in a bit more detail some of those features and explain how some of them work and the benefits of them. So let's dig into the Intelligent Hub now. So the Intelligent Hub is the piece of software that you saw these users interacting with. If anybody wants to have a deeper look at this particular feature, you can do it in the Hands-on Labs, which is available on the VMware Hands-on Labs website. That's the code for the lab itself, or you can just search for the name of the lab, Identity Management and Federation with Workspace ONE access. Okay, let's get going. So the Intelligent Hub, as I said, is a piece of software. It actually wears two hats. So the first task that the Intelligent Hub performs is it acts as the agent for the device management. So assuming that you're managing the devices, it will sit on the device and it will talk to the Workspace ONE platform and be able to process all the commands that it's receiving and feedback all the data. The other part of the Workspace ONE Intelligent Hub, and the bit that we're more focused around today, is around the hub services, which is what provides all the end user experience benefits to that end user. Now it's available on all these different platforms like iOS, macOS, Chrome, Android, Windows 10, for example. And as well as being available from all these different app stores for all these different platforms, it's also accessible from any HTML5 web browser. So even if you're on a device that you don't manage, even if you've borrowed somebody's laptop, as long as it's got a web browser, you can still access a lot of this functionality that we're going to talk about now. So the first thing that's in that Intelligent Hub is the Unified App Catalog. So this, this will look pretty familiar to a lot of people. It's basically like an app store, but it's a corporate app store that you build and you provide the content for the individuals. So the key thing about this app store is it's what we call a unified app catalog. So we can bring content from all the different public app stores and we can put it in here. So we can take content from the iOS App Store, the Google Play Store, the Windows Business Store, and we can put them all in a single catalog. So it's fantastic for end users because they don't have to go searching around depending on what type of device they're on. They don't have to go into different app stores thinking, where do I get that application from? They go to the Intelligent Hub for everything. We can also put other types of apps in there. So we can put native apps in there for mobile devices, for example. We can put native desktops in there for like Windows 10 and Mac. We can put virtual apps and virtual desktops from both Horizon and Citrix in there. And we can put SaaS applications and internal web applications as well, which can be accessed through Per App VPN. So this is a great one-stop shop, secure access to all the end users' apps and data from a single place in the Intelligent Hub. And what's really cool from an end user point of view about the Intelligent Hub app catalog is it's all accessed through a single sign-on process. So only one set of authentications required to get access to the Intelligent Hub, and then everything else is done seamlessly. So what you'll notice is that you'll get a lot less password reset requests from your end users because they're not having to use their password so often. And even more so because in some cases, they don't even log on to this with their password. They could log on with some other type of authentication like Face ID, biometric fingerprint. They could use a PIN, a password. They could use a certificate. If they're on a managed device, we can deliver a certificate to it, and that certificate could sign them in. Or we can even use two-factor authentication to be able to get them in as well. So all these things are possible, and we can deliver this great app store type experience that end users are already familiar with. Most people nowadays know how to use an app store, certainly the public app stores, and it gives them a great user experience that they don't really need any training for. I briefly mentioned multi-factor authentication there. Multi-factor authentication is built into the Intelligent Hub, so you no longer need to provide any other radius solutions or any other multi-factor authentication tools to bolt onto this. You can connect other radius solutions to this solution. However, it does include the Intelligent Hub as MFA, as I said. So when a user requests something which is which is told to request MFA, it will simply send a push notification to the end user's device. It will ask them, whether they want to approve this incoming request or whether they want to deny it. As a further security step, we can even turn on Face ID or fingerprint reading at that point as well. So the end user actually has to physically prove who they are as well, not that somebody else has stolen their device and managed to log into it. So it's a very secure method of being able to access. Moving on from the app catalog, we also have a feature in there called People Search. So it's an enterprise contacts directory that allows your end users to be able to look up anybody in your directory structure. So they can search for users by name, they can bring up those users' details, they can view all their email addresses, mobile numbers, contact addresses, and they've got very quick and simple links on the right-hand side that you can see, which will automatically populate an email or start a phone call. And in the top right-hand corner, you'll see there's a little contact symbol with a plus on it. I think this is a really cool feature, but clicking on that feature allows the end users to add this person directly into their phone contacts, which is a really nice feature. On the right-hand side of the screen, you'll see that we can also browse the organizational structure for these people as well, which is actually another really cool feature. So you can see who someone's manager is, you can see who they report to, you can also see who else is in their team. So, for example, I often look up somebody in the People Search, and if I try to contact them and they're not available, or if they're on PTO, for example, then I might look for who else is in their team and try and reach out to one of their colleagues. So it's a really useful tool. Again, all these features are available across all the platforms. So it doesn't matter where you are, it doesn't matter what device you're on, you can access all this information. We have custom notifications built into the platform as well. So you can deliver notifications to any users or devices out there. So what's great about the notifications is that you can actually target them really specifically. You can target notifications to groups of end users, different departments maybe. You can target them to device types. You could send a notification just to Windows devices, or just to mobile phones, or just to MacBooks. And this is really, really granular in level as to who you can send these notifications to. Here's an example of how it looks. When you build a notification, it's very simple, sort of wizard-driven process. And what you'll see is that as you build out the template, filling in the information, there's a preview that appears on the right-hand side, which will show you exactly what that notification will look like when it arrives for the end user. And you can change the branding, you can change the text, you can change the buttons at the bottom of it, etc. And once it's been sent, it'll tell you whether it's successful or not, and it'll tell you how many devices it was delivered to. There are 3 levels of notification it can send as well. It can send informational notifications, it can send high priority notifications, and it can send urgent notifications. Now, the informational ones just sit in the Intelligent Hub and require somebody to click on it to read them. As you can see in the middle screenshot, the high priority notifications will display a banner above the page, and the urgent ones will send a pop-up that will interrupt whatever the end user's doing. So this is a really good way to reach your end users, but also be able to get the right kind of notification to them, depending on the severity of the notification. You'll have seen in the last video a few minutes ago that there was some notifications that came through which required approval. This is using our mobile flows technology, which uses a series of connectors which join up with the notification platform and are able to surface those notifications in the end user's Intelligent Hub. So we have a number of different out-of-the-box connectors for things like Salesforce, Teams, Concur, Workday, and these can use the back-end connectors to send these alerts directly to end users' Intelligent Hubs. What that means is that they'll get a pop-up which says, one of your members of staff has raised a request for a day off. Do you want to approve it? And they're able to approve it or deny it just in that Intelligent Hub screen, rather than having to break out, log into Workday, find the request, approve it. So it's a lot more streamlined and it keeps your users a lot more productive. We also have a corporate services tab, which allows you to populate helpful resources, for example. So maybe it might be like a top 10 questions that IT get asked. You can publish those and all the links to them in there. The middle section displays all the end users' devices, so they can check the status of their devices. And if they're given permissions, they can even do some reconfiguration of those devices. And then at the bottom, there's also a contact section. So if people are maybe out on the road somewhere or traveling and they need to contact IT, they don't have to worry about how they can get in touch with IT. They can simply come into here and click the call or email button, and they can initiate that straight away. You'll have seen in the video that there was some virtual assistant stuff going on. So this is built into the Intelligent Hub 2. It integrates with IBM Watson, and essentially it allows the end users to communicate with the Intelligent Hub by either their natural language, by speaking to it, or they can type in a question on the bottom of the screen. So it enables them to do things like raise tickets, order new equipment, ask questions about finding documents, that kind of thing. So as you can see on this example, somebody is going through the process of requesting and ordering a new device. In this example, somebody's asked to check the status of their tickets that they've logged. And in the middle screen, you'll notice that somebody's just asked a question, how many days off do we get? And IBM Watson in the background has checked its records. It's found a document which lists all the company benefits. So these are all examples of where virtual assistant could be used. Everything in the Intelligent Hub respects the end user's privacy. And when an end user gets a new device, at any time, they can look at what the privacy policy is. They can see what exactly IT can see on their device, what they can't see, what's collected and what's not collected. This is even more apparent when a user enrolls something like a BYOD device, where it's their own personal device and they want to make sure that their own data is not viewed. And as importantly, if any changes are made to policies, for example, throughout their life cycle at the company, every time there's a change which affects their privacy policy will be updated and they will be notified via their devices. Last year, we introduced something called Hub Passport into the Intelligent Hub. So this is, the idea here is that we're kind of replacing the staff pass that you might have carried around on a lanyard around your neck, for example, and we're replacing that with a digital version. This digital version is accessible from the Intelligent Hub on your mobile device. And what's really cool about this is not only does it prove who you are, but it can also be used with door entry systems. It integrates with the card readers on door entry systems, and you can use it to get in and out of buildings, in and out of doors, and it's, you know, can be assigned to whatever permissions you've got to get into whatever rooms you need. So that's a really nice feature, because, you know, everybody's been in that position where they've got to work and realize that they've forgotten their staff pass. So this negates that, because, you know, you're a lot less likely to forget your mobile device. You can use the Intelligent Hub to display any custom web page as well. So this is really nice, I think, for displaying maybe your company intranet. If somebody wants a really quick, easy way to get to the intranet and find out some information internally, they can just click the Home tab and it'll take them straight to that page. This can be any link. It can be something out on the internet. It could be something internal to your organization. And even if your end users are maybe working remotely and they click the Home tab, technologies like Per-app VPN will automatically allow them to reach internal content and web pages. Everything in the Intelligent Hub can be rebranded. We can change the look and feel, we can change the color scheme, we can change the logo, so everything can reflect your company's branding. We can also create different templates, maybe for different departments within your organization. So if you want different departments in your organization to have different settings, for example, you want some people to see people search and some people for it to be hidden. You want some people to have the app catalog and some people not to have the app catalog. You can control this with templates, and you can also assign different branding to different templates. And I'll show you this in the demo at the end. This is really nice because it allows you to have customization between departments, but also if you're a company which does acquisitions, for example, you can automatically bring those new employees on board, but still give them a unique experience which is branded with their own company name. So everything we've just talked about up till now is all focused on helping the end user be self-sufficient and give them extra features to improve their day-to-day end user experience. But there's another side of end user experience, which is about the IT department being proactive rather than reactive, right? So we want to be able to find issues, and we want to be able to act on issues even before maybe the end users notice them. Or we want to be able to pick up on an issue which is affecting more than just one individual, and we want to be able to take some action on it to correct it before the rest of the end users are all affected. We refer to this as the Digital Employee Experience Management Tool, or DEEM for short. Now, this is a tool which does exactly that. It manages all your estate, it assigns an experience score to each user, and it allows you to keep track of whether that user experience is consistent, whether it's improving, or whether it's getting worse. So I'll just show you a quick video which talks a bit more about this in detail and shows you exactly how it works.
As companies continue their digital workspace journey, one of the key challenges they face is delivering an engaging employee experience at all times. IT is under increasing scrutiny to improve the digital experience employees have across their organization, but often lacks visibility into issues impacting this. Reactive incident detection increases ticket volume and time to resolution, and the ongoing shift to remote work makes it even more critical that the workspace experience is seamless. Welcome to VMware's Digital Employee Experience Management Solution, also known as DEEM. It allows IT to monitor digital workspace KPIs that impact users' experience, productivity, and engagement across any platform, mobile or desktop. Here's how it works. Integrated within the VMware Workspace ONE platform, DEEM has unique access to all aspects of your end-user computing environments, including devices, OS, apps, users, network, and more. Using analytics and machine learning models, DEEM calculates a user experience score for each employee. It continuously monitors performance and employee sentiment, proactively identifying anomalies and potential issues. A key metric that impacts a user experience is app performance. DEEM tracks enterprise and productivity applications across mobile, desktop, SaaS, and virtual. This provides visibility into adoption, engagement, crashes, app hangs, resource utilization, network latency, and errors. DEEM also tracks device health KPIs such as battery life, hard drive failures, boot and shutdown duration, and OS crashes, and provides easy insights into the employee experience, devices, and app performance scores, exposing potential issues with real-time alerts. With advanced reporting and dashboard capabilities in Workspace ONE Intelligence, admins can perform root cause analysis, and because Workspace ONE manages the device, admins have more control and can design automated workflows to proactively take action, drastically reducing time to resolution. Delight your remote workforce with an exceptional employee experience and increased productivity with VMware's Digital Employee Experience Management. To find out more, visit vmware.com.
So that's how DEEM looks and how it works. Just to focus on some of its key areas. So DEEM is able to track software usage. It's actually a good tool for using for software rationalization, but it also checks on the stability of software. It'll report things like application crashes, for example. It's good for checking the performance and capacity planning of the devices, which devices are running out of disk space, etc. It can check the firmware and the stability of those devices, so it can check, maybe whether a security patch is making your Windows devices blue screen, for example. It can report back on hardware health of the devices, so devices which it thinks are failing, like hard drives or batteries, for example. And it can be used to affect the environmental impact, so we can use it for things like device refresh. We can also use it to tune things like, when and how batteries are charged on laptops, and replacing, like I said before, failing batteries in devices, so they're not having to stay on power all the time. From an app rationalization point of view, we can create custom dashboards which show which apps are being used, which are not being used. So you could maybe repurpose some licenses, or maybe cut down the number of licenses that you need to renew. And also we can use this information to track which devices are using which applications as well. So maybe a particular application is being used on one platform more than another because the users prefer it. So you can use that to customize what you make available to your end users. In terms of improving the end user experience, we can take automations, as you saw in the video, to take corrective action. So in this example, for example, an admin notices through the reports that app adoption decreases. So people stop using an application. So he starts to analyze the data and identifies that there's an issue with the app. So the app's started to slow down, or maybe it's started to crash. So people have stopped using it. So he can maybe find a fix for that. He can send a notification to the users. He can push an app update, and this can be automated, so all the devices can be corrected, and the end users can be notified, that the issue has been corrected, and they can start using it again. We can report on all this information from the devices because we're also managing them with the Workspace ONE platform. So we can report back on all the devices, what's out there, what's been used, how old it is. We can use this information for device refresh, for example. And again, all this stuff can be created and shown in custom dashboards, custom reports. And as you also saw in the video, we can also check on the stability of the operating systems, and we can check for things like OS crashes and as well as application crashes. So this is really good for, maybe we've all probably been in that situation where we push out a security patch and it makes the devices unstable. We can quickly identify that. As you can see in the spike on the graph, there's a number of devices that have been crashing on a particular date, so it's probably linked to a change that's been made. You could tie this in with your change control and find out exactly what happened in that date range and what might have started those machines for crashing. I'll show you another quick video about how this looks.
Meet John. Like many of us, John uses smart automation daily in his personal life to protect his valuable assets, simplify chores, and get to places faster. But when it comes to work, chaos just seems normal. What if John could bring his everyday simplicity to the workplace? With VMware Workspace ONE, he can. Workspace ONE lets John simplify IT from the get-go, even before users lay hands on their device, any device. He gets started with solutions, simple workflows that save IT valuable time in setting up the digital workspace. He is guided through smart recommendations for apps and policies, best suited for a use case that business drives. So when the new sales employee Jamie receives a work device on her first day, she is productive immediately. She has all apps ready, not only on her PC, but also her smartphone, so she can hit the ground running to make her first big sale. In the past, John spent 80% of the time keeping the lights on for the systems he supported. Not anymore. Workspace ONE lets him automate routine IT operations, whether it's securing devices or making sure the team's ready for the next audit. For example, using Workspace ONE, John quickly pulls a report on app license usage. He creates automation to revoke user permissions, remove apps on device, and even inform users so they aren't surprised. And his ROI on app purchases is greatly improved. John also spends less time solving routine IT issues. Workspace ONE scans performance data across hardware and software to proactively manage users' digital experience. For example, Workspace ONE predicts the hard disk on Jamie's Windows device may fail in the next few days. Using intelligence automation and connectors to an ecosystem of IT tools, Workspace ONE immediately triggers data backup, kicks off a warranty replacement ticket, and notifies John and Jamie about the replacement. With modern management and intelligence, John has elevated both user experience and security. And his IT team is now both cost-effective and business-centric. At the end of the day, nothing gives John more pleasure than seeing an employee that's happy with the services he's delivered. So when Jamie sends a thumbs up on her experience, John knows he's doing things right. Redefine modern management with Workspace ONE.
So I think that video, puts into perspective how you could use that and what an impact that could have, that sort of technology can have on your end users. So let's stop sharing and let me show you a quick demo of what the Intelligent Hub actually looks like. So the Intelligent Hub is accessible from the Intelligent Hub app, as I said right at the start. It's also accessible from within a web browser. So I can type in the URL for my particular company's platform, and depending on what type of authentication is set, in this case it's just username and password, I can log into the platform. And you can see that I'm immediately presented with the App Store. I can see some highlighted apps that are promoted by the admin. I can see some recommended apps. These could be recommended based on my job role, for example. And I can see all the apps that are available. I can click see all to see them all. And I can actually focus on different categories as well. So if I wanted, for example, to look at collaboration apps, I can click on that. If I wanted to look at expenses apps, I can click there. So this is a quick and easy way for people to be able to find applications they need and be self-sufficient. If, as an end user, I decide that I want to make some of these applications easier accessible, for example, this travel app, I can add it to my favorites. What that means is that I can go to my favorites tab and I can actually see that application. It's not appeared. 1 second. Try that again. There you go. So now it's on my favorites, and these favorites are consistent across every single device that I access as an end user. So if I log into the Intelligent Hub via my phone, either via the app or a web browser, I will see this application added to my favorites. So users can add and remove items to their favorites whenever they like. They can customize this panel and make it look and work exactly how they need it to. We've also got the People Search tab in here. We've also got the Custom Notifications tab in here. So you can see that we've got some app notifications. And you remember me talking about the Mobile Flows platform. We've got a request here from an end user who's trying to get approval for a new iPhone. So I could approve or reject that based on, you know, who that user is and whether he's entitled to it or not. I've also got some other notifications just telling me I've had some new apps assigned to me. And then we've got the Corporate Services tab, which allows me to publish helpful resources, show my devices and the contact information. So this gives you an idea of what this looks like. I'm just going to log into a different tenant and show you what some of the branding and template features look like. So when I log into a different platform, you'll see essentially it looks a little bit different because the branding's different, but it's essentially the same. Now, if I wanted to set up different groups of users to have a different experience, or we had a company acquisition and we wanted to give them their own unique branding, I can also do that. So they could maybe sign into the same domain if they're a different department, or a different domain if they're a different company. But I can sign in as a different user, and based on the user that's signing in, I get a completely different experience, right? The branding's different, the color scheme's different. I can change the apps that user sees. And I can even change the features that are available across the top. Again, you can set up as many of these as you like, so I can log in as a different user and I can show what that looks like. So hopefully that gives you an idea of how you could make this unique for different groups of users. And that is about it for me for today. Yeah, so hopefully that's shown you, how powerful digital workspace is, and really why digital transformation is so important nowadays. It's never been more important than it is today. We've got so many more people working remotely. We've got so many more people who need to remain productive. They want a really great experience, and this platform gives them that. So I'm going to hand back now to the Kuiper guys, and we will, I guess, take some questions, right?
Yeah, thanks, Darren. That was a great presentation. Some really important considerations were raised there, and it's great to see VMware's capabilities as well. So we've had a couple of questions already come through on chat. Feel free to add any more questions as they come through. The first question we've had through on the chat, let me ask firstly, what would you say are the main benefits that customers have seen who have adopted this technology and improving the end user experience?
Yeah, good question. I suppose, you know, lots of the things we've talked about through this presentation. So user productivity is increased, user satisfaction's increased, the number of calls raised to IT certainly decreased in a lot of accounts. I would say that they're some of the main benefits. Users can certainly be more self-sufficient, so you know that they're not having to rely on IT to do things like deliver applications. And another big focus as well, which maybe the end users are not so concerned about, but IT certainly are, is the device security. So, you know, these end users who are now working at home, we've seen huge benefits in being able to get patches out securely and updates out securely to those devices, and also, of course, their applications, so we can keep their applications up to date wherever they are.
That's great. Thanks, Darren. Another question has come through. We have some apps that are created only for our company. How can we add them to the App Store?
I mean, it depends what type of app they are. If they're a native desktop app, for example, we can just upload them. That's not a problem. The platform can take any kind of MSI, any kind of exe, or even if it's a different type of install, you can. There are some other tools available that we can use, scripting tools with, for example, to be able to deliver it. If it's some kind of application that's web-based, we can simply publish it as a web icon in the platform. So whatever type of app it is, really, we can publish it within that catalog. Even if it's your own type of, you know, an internally developed mobile app, for example, there are features in the platform that allow you to publish your own apps, your own internal apps, should I say. So yeah, don't worry too much about your own internal apps. They're no different to any publicly available ones.
That's great. Thanks, Darren. Another question. If I can access the Intelligent Hub from a browser, how can that mean I'm securely accessing apps I could be accessing on my personal PC, for example?
Yeah, good question. So that we'll be covering some of this stuff later on in the week. So we'll definitely be covering that on Friday in the security section. But essentially, every icon that you see in the application catalog has conditional access policies assigned to it. And those conditional access policies dictate, you know, who the user is that's allowed in, what type of device they have to be on to be able to use the app, whether that device has to be managed or not to be able to get into it, and also where that user is located. Are they in the office? Are they, you know, in a different country? All these things get factored in when the user clicks on that application, and in a split second, the platform makes a decision about whether they're able to access. So typically what happens is if you're on a web browser and it's on an unmanaged machine, you'll have some limitations about what you can access, but that's for security purposes.
That's fantastic. Thanks, Darren. We have got some time for any more questions if anybody wants to pop them in the chat, but we've had some great questions already, so it appears that the content is resonating, so that's great. Doesn't look like anything else is coming through, so over to you now, Stuart.
Cheers, Neil. It's very important to us that we get these sessions right. So I'd really like to understand whether today's content has answered our big question successfully. We've got a very quick poll for you to answer. The polling button should be on the screen now, but if you can't see them, just pop your answer in the chat. The question we ask is, based on what you've heard, how much more comfortable do you feel that good user experience can result in better outcomes for IT? A, somewhat, B, a lot, or C, I still need persuading? You pop your answers in. Got a few more seconds to cast your vote. I'm hoping that I'll be able to see the results. Okay, great. That's the poll closed. I've always wanted to say this. You knew it was coming. Our survey said a lot, 82% of you said a lot, 1% somewhat, and 9% somewhat, and 9% will still need persuading. So if you said a lot, that's fantastic. It means we've done our jobs right over the past 30 minutes. It's always good to see. If it's somewhat will need persuading, don't worry, that's good, because we're all about continuing improvement. So we're going to be sure to follow up with you and dig deeper into what really matters to you. So thank you very much for that feedback. Right, then moving on, looking to the rest of the week. Our upcoming sessions are taking place over the next 3 days. If you've not registered already and you'd like to, please drop me a call or message and I'll make sure you get a link to register. We're also making the webinar series available on demand, so you can rewatch these at your leisure. You can expect to receive an email from us over the next week or so with links to each and every session. So Jan 27th, that's tomorrow, will be Modern Management. On Thursday, it will be Virtual Desktops and Apps on the 28th. And on Friday, we've got Securing the Enterprise on the 29th. So just leaves me to say, I'd like to extend my thanks to everyone who's attended our breakfast series today, and to our speakers, Paul and Darren and Neil, for illustrating how VMware makes the workplace better for users and IT. I could go on forever about all the different capabilities we have, but I'd like to leave the final words to our customers. Here are some kind words that I believe highlight not what we do, but how we do it. So I really do hope that Kuiper have the opportunity to do the same for you in the very, very near future. Over the next few days, we'll approach you for some feedback about today's session and to see where you stand now that we're moving beyond the business shock of 2020 and look forward to ways we can strengthen and adapt our business for the future. Thank you ever so much for joining. Have a great day.